There's not.
There's no perfect relationship.
But I did just think like the more awareness you have with yourself, then the more awareness you have with your partner.
Yes.
The better your relationship.
The better your relationship.
Welcome to Love Stories, a relationship podcast for successful women, where we talk about love, dating, relationships, and how great love stories are made. Whether you're searching for the one, you're madly in love, or simply curious about romantic relationships, this podcast is for you. I'm Charlene Byars. Each week, you'll hear from women, couples, and experts, and all the ins and outs on how to create your own love story. I am so passionate about this subject, and I'm so excited to share all the things that you can apply to create a beautiful love story of your own. Cheers to great love.
Welcome back to the Love Stories podcast. I'm your host, Charlene Byars. Hello. Happy New Week. I was thinking about something because I often think about relationships and how relationships can get closer and ways to make that happen. Relationships, just like anything else that we want in life, require putting in time and effort. And there are things that we can do while we are together to get closer and stay connected. So, I came up with some questions to ask your partner that can help you both grow and stay connected. I want to share some of these questions that you can ask your partner and your partner can ask you. Okay, let's start. 1. What's something that I need to improve when we are in an argument? 2. What is something that you want me to do more of? And what is something that you want me to do less of in bed together? 3. Is there something I've said or done that has created an insecurity for you? 4. What is something annoying that I do that if it gets any worse could become a real problem in our relationship? 5. Is there someone in my life that you think brings out the worst in me or is a bad influence? 6. Is there anything that I can change about how I'm being as a partner that will make you feel more secure in our relationship? 7. Is there a boundary that I have crossed or not fully respected? 8. Are there any resolved issues that still linger for you that you think that we need to address? 9. What are the things that I do that make you feel loved and connected to me? I suggest sitting down with your partner, ask them these questions, and give them an opportunity to ask you the same. And invite them also to add questions that they would like to ask you. Keep a safe space with each other and ask questions without any judgment, and an opportunity to create and learn more about one another. If you would like a list of these questions, please make sure you email me at charlene@charlenebyars.com, and we'll make sure that we get those lists right out to you. Let's talk about the tip of the week, which is, do not waste time on men who are not looking for what you're looking for. If you're looking to find your soulmate and get married, it is so important that you don't waste time with a man if he's not looking for the same outcome. When you're dating and getting to know different men, be clear with your intentions and let them know exactly what it is that you're looking for. And if he's not looking for the same, then move on. Even if you find him attractive, don't waste your time or energy with a man who is not on the same page as you and is just looking to hook up. Trust me, there are plenty of amazing men out there who are looking for commitment with their soulmate. That's why it's important that you date multiple men. Ask them questions and get to know who they are and what they're all about and what they are looking for, and see if it truly aligns with you. I am so thrilled to welcome my next guest to the show today. Dr. Steph Dorworth is the founder and head creator of Sunny Creator Co. in Phoenix, Arizona. As a retired physical therapist with a passion for creating, she began shooting videos in 2017 as a side hustle. And since then, it has grown into what Sunny Co-Creator is today, a content and video creation business for soulful female entrepreneurs and brands. From websites to graphic design and social media to videography in the Phoenix area, she does it all, infused with a little sunshine. When it comes to relationships, she had her fair share of negative experience and sometimes questioned men, thinking that she can be defined as Miss Independent. But in 2010, she reunited with her childhood crush, and within 2 weeks, they were each other's soulmates. They're now happily married together 14 years with one doggy-o named Foster in Phoenix, Arizona. They love hiking, traveling, and whiskey tasting together. One of the biggest takeaways I took out of this fabulous conversation that I had with Steph is she did not settle. She stuck to her values and exactly what she was looking for with her future husband and the life that she wanted to create with him. Such a great love story. With no further ado, Steph Dorworth. Well, hello, Steph. Oh, my goodness. Okay, first of all, I just want to say thank you for being here today. You are actually my first guest that has been with me live in the studio. Yay!
What an honor.
I know, it's so exciting because usually, you know, I have people from all over the world. And then when I found out that you lived here also in Arizona, I was like, oh, we got to have her here. We have to have her live. So thank you so much for being here. This is really exciting. I never even thought about I've always was like, oh gosh, I wonder how it's going to be when I have a guest here. And this is really cool. So thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes.
I feel so honored.
Yes.
And this is a great studio, Good Vibe Studios, to film at.
Yes.
So
yes.
let's
yes.
do this.
Let's do this. Yes. Okay, Steph, I was thinking how I wanted to start today. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
We're just going to get right into it. How has being married enhanced your life, like in ways that you weren't expecting? Because I know you were a single woman at one time, so now we're married. How has being married enhanced your life?
Yes. I mean, how long can my list be? Because it's really, truly been a dream come true to get to be married.
Okay.
Being married was the biggest goal I had.
Really?
Growing up.
Okay.
Because truthfully, and many of my friends know this,
Yeah.
I never had a deep desire to have children.
Okay.
It just has never been really in the plans for me.
Yeah.
It was never something that I craved and knew was for me.
Yeah.
But I always knew I meant to be married. I always knew I wanted to find that partner, that best friend,
right,
that person that was just like my ride or die.
Okay.
And so being married has truly been a dream come true because that was my ultimate goal, is like find my person.
Because did you have fear then? Like you said, you knew that there was this possibility that you didn't want to have children. So whether there's that type of fear, like if I fall in love maybe with the man that wants to have kids, like how are we going to do that? Like what was that about for you? Because you're like, I didn't think I wanted to have children. So you knew that you wanted to probably be with the man that also probably didn't want to. Okay. And did that happen early on that you kind of knew that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I always questioned, will my decision on children change as I get older? I never really knew. But I was pretty certain most of my life. I've just never really been that into kids.
Yeah.
I've been more drawn to animals and cats and dogs, but not kids.
Okay.
And that was just my decision. And so throughout my dating life, in my teenage years, my 20s, I continued to attract people that just weren't ready for the long-term commitment. And eventually I knew that, okay, when I find the right guy, he will check all of the boxes. I knew that I didn't have fear about it. I'm a very faith-based person. I knew that the right person would come. Okay. And if they were the right person, they'd have that same aligned goal that they don't really want kids either.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was already something that you already had faith and you already put out there. You're
Yeah.
like, I know that I'm not going to, I would say you felt like I'm not going to settle. I'm going to find the one. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
I
really
never
powerful.
wanted to settle.
I know. Yes.
And I love that you mentioned that, because I think that for so many of my friends and people I know, the reason they're unhappy in their relationship is often because they settled too early on. They weren't patient enough to wait around to become the woman they wanted to be, to attract the right man into their life.
That makes a lot of sense, because think about that. If you already knew, okay, again, and I love that, because children are not for everyone, and that's totally okay. Like, that's absolutely okay, right? And a lot of times, sometimes people do have children, and that wasn't really something that they were really expecting or wanted to, but they decided that, oh, okay, he wants to have children, so maybe I should change my mind. And they get in these relationships, and then they end up realizing, wow, I really didn't stick to what I knew in my heart, right? Like what I knew in my heart that I didn't want from the beginning. Okay, so we're gonna talk about this. So you get married, and what was it like now? Well, how long you been married, Steph?
I've been married to my husband Zach for 9 years, but actually we've been together for 14 years.
Okay, for 14 years. Okay. So what has been truly one of the biggest surprises, you being married, that, like I said earlier, like that has enhanced your life? What is something that you didn't expect that it was like, wow, this is better than I thought?
Yeah.
Wow,
I just expected marriage to be so wonderful, and I'm just like a hopeless romantic.
Okay.
So I just always thought, okay, it's going to be great. And once I get married, like, we're just going to have this beautiful life.
Yeah.
What I didn't expect was that I would still be able to maintain my independent spirit while still being married in a very supportive relationship.
Okay.
I always thought that perhaps, I'd get married and I'd become very reliant on him and, like, almost codependent in a way, like just need him all the time. But we have such a beautiful relationship that he allows me to still have my independence, which is very important for me.
Yes.
I'm an Aquarius. I am always one of those people, like, I don't mind going shopping myself, going on a trip by myself, going to the movies by myself. I actually like being by myself in my own energy sometimes. I really do. And he respects that. And I'm really, really grateful that I found a man that allows me to have that alone time, that independent time, but also fully supports me when we are together.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. Okay, so that was one thing.
So that surprised me, because I didn't really know if things would change when we got married.
Yeah, of course, right?
Know?
Yeah, because you're like, okay, we're going to get married. I'm kind of hoping this, but I'm not sure. You weren't married before. So that has kind of like stayed just pretty much how when you were probably dating with him. Like, I bet you he already had that type of...
Yes.
Okay, so he didn't change on you. It just got better.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go then. Okay, Steph. So let's go back then. So before you met your husband, give me an example, like, how was it for you when you were single? Like when you were dating? Because you already kind of mentioned that there were already some, guys that, what did you say earlier? That they just weren't ready for commitment, or, okay, so bring me backwards. Tell me when you started, getting out there and dating. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah. So for those of you who are new to my world, I grew up in a very Christian household, very sheltered, I believe. And I didn't even start dating till I was a senior in high school.
Really?
My first boyfriend.
Yeah.
His name was Kevin in high school. And he was so sweet and kind to me, my little, like, innocent Stephanie phase.
Okay, yeah.
And then when I went away to college, I was like, oh, here's all this independence I've been craving. I get to make decisions for myself now. I can do what I want now. And I just completely, like, over college age, like, years, started to shatter that, like, shell and break out of my shell over those next few years. And it was a crazy wild phase, of course.
Yeah, no, it's just fantastic.
Most people. Like, I went to the University of Florida, go Gators, and I was just constantly, going to school, studying, getting good grades enough, but of course partying. And that's when I was really also just exploring the dating world for the very first time. And I dated a lot of different types of guys. And I would say the longest relationship, I think it was like 3 years, but it was on and off.
On and off,
it
right?
was one of those where it's like there wasn't much trust in the relationship.
Okay.
So it was a constant battle of I'm fighting for your love, but you're not giving it to me fully, and being cheated on. And I still would go back to him. One of those
type of relationships.
One of those relationships that was tough at the moment, but looking back on it, I learned and grew so much from it, and learned what I didn't want in a man.
Yeah. So not only then, so you just said that you grew up in a, a Christian home, kind of a little bit of a sheltered.
Yeah.
And did you grow up here in Arizona?
In Florida.
Okay. So you grew up in Florida. Okay. And this was actually the first time that you left home.
Yes.
And so you're living in the college
in a different city.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Oh, wow. So that alone was probably a shock to you. Not only like, being single, and not only being single, being in college and kind of being sheltered, because how was it like for your parents? What was their relationship like?
Their relationship, their marriage?
Yes.
That is a tricky question to answer, because I feel like I was so sheltered that a lot of their relationship was behind closed doors.
Okay.
So I didn't really see much love and affection. I saw more controlling, negative environment when it came to their relationship. Sure, on the outside, they go to church and, they have a perfect 30-year marriage.
Yep.
But I didn't really ever see a romantic, like, loving relationship.
Yes.
Like the way I am with my husband, Zach.
Right.
We always want to be touching, hugging, kissing, like telling each other we love each other.
Right.
I didn't see that
You
much.
didn't get to see that. Yeah. So that probably played a big part when you were, dating, and probably having to do with that relationship that you had with that guy, right? The one that you said it didn't work out.
Yeah.
How did that affect you? How did that impact your life? Because I look back now, and I get to interview a whole bunch of women.
Yeah.
And when we talk about like our past, not me speaking, I didn't grow up either like really seeing, actually I grew up seeing very toxic relationship. My mother was married to my stepfather, and it was not good. And so I didn't even have that experience either. I knew in my heart, like I always thought I was a romantic. I was like, I want to be in love. I want to do this. But I had no idea also, because I never saw it. I never actually really experienced, a couple, having conflict and figuring out, or I've never experienced a couple like truly like just having that tenderness with them. And so I think a lot of how we grow up plays a big part in our journey, and it's us able to go through that journey, and that plays a part in our relationship patterns. So how did that play a part? Because you just said that you go to college and you're dating guys and you're having the time of your life, and then you meet the one, but things weren't good. Did you see yourself like, how did you see yourself when you were in that relationship? Not with the husband, with that one boyfriend.
So my college boyfriend, that was during a period of time in my life where I was not very good at communicating.
Okay.
And that's definitely on me. I think I grew up as such a perfectionist that I was terrified of saying the wrong thing, doing the wrong thing, not getting perfect grades, not being the perfect daughter. And so it was easier to just stay quiet, not stay out of trouble, be the good girl. And I realized over time, I was just going inward so deep that like no one was getting to know the real me. I was just like this robot, I felt like.
Right.
And so when I went to college and met my boyfriend at the time, I think he got an okay average version of me.
Okay.
Like, I gonna be honest, I didn't love who I was in my early 20s. I was still a little shy, but I was kind of breaking out a little bit, but I was not good at communicating.
Okay.
And so I think that I learned that from my parents growing up. They were amazing parents.
Yeah,
and
let's just say that, like,
they were great parents,
yes,
but their relationship, what I saw was very poor communication and not much love being shown.
Right.
Right?
Steph, you know what? That's the thing. I mean, a lot of us, when we think about that, our parents, just like a lot of us, they also have their history. And really, when you really think about that, a lot of people are not taught relationships. They're not taught communication. And it's no fault to parents. I really believe, me as a mother, I'm a mother of 4 children. I really believe, me as a mother, it is it is also a learning experience. Like, you can be a great parent, but you don't even understand how that relationship with your spouse really does affect your children. So, so there's no fault to no parents, because you know what, Stephanie, we do the best we can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they probably, girlfriend, honestly, a lot of parents, they do that thinking that they're protecting you.
Yes.
They're thinking that they're like, well, I don't want
that.
them to see the conflict or anything like that. And you're not the first one that has told me this. I had a guest on one time, and she was telling me, she's like, I remember like my parents, they had, from the outside, they had a great relationship. She's like, but Charlene, the same thing. I didn't even see any of that. Like, I didn't see conflict resolution. Like, I didn't see any of that. So like, I had this perfectionism in me because I didn't get to see that vulnerability with my parents. And I'm like, wow, that really, and I think that's really relatable to a lot of us on what we see, how that affects us and how we grow up. Kind of like, oh yeah, I kind of built this way about me. Because did you have brothers and sisters?
Yes, I have one sister.
Okay. Are you older or younger?
I'm older.
Okay, you're the oldest one. Oh, so that,
yeah.
Oh, so that was probably another layer of responsibility that you probably had to felt like that you had to have everything.
Setting the example and stuff for her too.
Setting the example, and everything had to be just right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, so I didn't really see much though of what a very loving, affectionate, vulnerable relationship looked like, because I think they were just trying to protect me
100%.
from the bickering and such.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But, I got to give them some grace, because it's hard enough to keep a marriage alive and strong and to raise kids at the same time.
It is. Yep.
So to have that awareness and be able to have a good relationship, and then also try and show the positive sides of your relationship in front of your kids, just so they grow up seeing that. I mean,
it's a lot.
Too much
it's
to
a lot.
ask,
It's a
right?
lot.
Like,
no, it's a lot. It's
so
a lot.
What are your like actionable steps, like as a mom and a wife?
Yes.
What do you do? Because I'm sure people listening are like, okay, well, I want to be better at that. What do you do to show a better example in front of your kids?
You know what? For me as a mom, I've been a mom for a long time. So I have, I'm just going to I'm going to give you the age of Steph. So my oldest is 32. And then I have a 24, and then I have bonus kids because my husband now came with 2 kids.
Okay.
And then I have a 24, and then Chase is 23, and I'm still raising twins that are 17.
Okay.
Yeah, right. And so what I have
2
learned,
in the house still.
Yes, I have 2 in the house still. And what I have learned, and it truly has just been experience as time goes by, and because I didn't know any of this either. So I always say with my first time, I have a great relationship with all my kids. I've really been lucky because my kids are awesome and they all get along. Everything's cool. Seriously, everything's cool. I never had I don't have horror stories when it comes to raising my children. But here's the but. So with my first son, remember, he's 33. I had Joshua when I was 19 years old. And I'm 52 years old right now. So I had Joshua when I was 19 years old. And I have learned so much, just like I felt like Josh and I kind of grew up together because I was learning. I was a mom for the first time. I didn't even have my second son, Steph, until Joshua was like 8. And so I had to learn as a mom, to be able to learn the communication with my kid, like learn to put them in environments that are healthy environments, learn all of that. But it took me a while. I always say, okay, I didn't really get it right with Joshua, even though he loves me, everything's, we're cool. I just felt like after every kid, I got better. I really did. I just got better. I got more mature. And I just kind of realized one of the things I think for me that I naturally had, and I don't know where this came from, is I had, lots of patience. I'm a natural patient person.
What a great quality.
I know.
I admire
that. But I was going to say this, Stephanie, it didn't come from the beginning. You know what I mean? Like it didn't come from the beginning because I think with Joshua, it was a trial and error. I was always so sweet. And kind to him. But like if Josh was here today, he was like, oh my God, she was just crazy in a good way. But like I had to learn that. So that's why I always say, so sometimes I say, sorry, Josh, because he sees me now, you can imagine with the twins. Now I feel like I'm a professional now. And I'm like, okay, it's just totally different now. But yeah, but I definitely think how we grew up, Steph, like I really plays a part in how we're going to do romantic relationships.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are in college. And so you had your little wild stage and stuff like that. Were you still thinking, okay, I do want to get married? Because you said you knew that you didn't want, when did you know that you're like, I don't want to have children?
I think I've always known that.
Okay.
Yeah.
From a young age.
I've always known. Yeah.
Okay. So then in college though, but you knew that you wanted to get married.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. I've always wanted to get married.
Okay.
I am one of those girls. I will watch chick flicks for days.
Okay. Yeah.
I love them. I love romance movies. And I always just wanted like The Notebook or A Walk to Remember, like that one true love and that person I'm with forever. That's just been my dream.
Right. Okay.
So I always knew I wanted to be married.
So that was something that you knew you wanted to. Okay. So now you're in that relationship with the guy. So what happened? How did that relationship end?
Yeah. So this was so long ago, but ultimately.
Just take me back, Steph. Take me back.
Ultimately, it just was another cheating instance. And finally me just saying, I am worthy of more in a relationship. I deserve better.
You deserve better.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also reflecting on what I was not able to give him or what I was not able to communicate to him. What can I do better? So I actually took about a year and a half off from dating. I focused on my schooling. I went to physical therapy school, which was just so intense. Very busy, studying all the time.
Is that like all the time, right?
It consumed me, but it was also good to have that break from dating and just kind of like focus on something else for a little bit.
Okay. So during that time, I guess then you're trying to say that you actually probably learned more about yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was good. I'm independent. I was good. Back to my just, living with my roommate, my girlfriends hanging out. And ultimately, the next man that came into my life was my husband.
Okay.
Toward the end of physical therapy school, we reconnected.
We mean reconnected.
We reconnected.
So you knew him before?
We have known each other a very long time.
Okay, tell me that.
Can I take you like way, way back?
Yes. Okay. Because you reconnect. Okay, that's a little twist there. Okay.
Yeah.
How did you know your husband back then? Well, he wasn't your husband back then, but how did you know him? How did you meet him?
Yes.
Okay.
In 1986.
Okay.
way, way back.
Yeah.
My husband was born.
Okay.
And 2 months later, I was born.
Okay.
By women that were best friends growing up in Ohio in a very small town. So our moms have always been best friends.
Okay.
And therefore, our families have always been close.
Okay.
Now, we grew up in different states, okay? My husband grew up in Ohio.
Okay.
I grew up in Florida.
Okay.
But them being best friends, they always kept in touch. And occasionally, our families would meet up on family vacations to hang out, spend time together. And every time we hung out, I just had the biggest crush on Zach.
Okay.
He was a cutie pie, so cute. And I never really talked to him much, I don't think, honestly, Charlene, because I was so shy. Remember, I was just like sitting there, like
you're
perfect
you're like
little
just
girl.
privately, like, oh, he's so cute.
Oh, but he's so cute. And yeah, he was just always like a childhood crush. No big deal.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And then every year, you know how you send Christmas cards and you put your kids' school pictures in the cards? You mail them out.
Okay.
Every year, I would steal his picture out of the Christmas card.
No,
because he's just so cute. He's just my crush. So I took his picture.
Okay.
Okay, fast forward. 2010.
Okay.
We cannot remember who followed who, but Facebook was a big thing then.
Yeah.
Somehow we followed each other and started messaging each other.
Really? So how old were you at this time?
2010. Oh my goodness.
It's okay. Just roughly. I like the listeners just to kind of.
23.
Okay, about 23. Okay, yeah. Let's one of them give a reference. Okay, yeah. Because you're in college, so you're about 23 years old. All right.
Yes. So we're messaging. He's asking me about physical therapy because he's considering going to school for it. I'm still in school for it at the time.
Okay.
And ultimately, it just kind of led to one of those just messaging back and forth constantly.
Right.
And I found out that he was finishing up his 4-year commitment in the Marines.
Oh.
He was living in Arizona, stationed out here, and he was about to get out, and he was about to move back to Ohio.
Oh.
And so what happened was we just couldn't stop talking.
Okay.
And most of his...
Well, hold on, let me ask you this real quick.
Yeah.
You couldn't stop talking. Now, at this point, Steph, were you guys having like a little flirty, or are we still like kind of doing the friend thing?
It's getting a little flirty.
It's getting a little flirty now. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And we start, taking the messages into the phone calls.
Okay.
We would literally talk for hours on the phone. And during his drive from Arizona all the way to Ohio, I was on the phone with him most of the time.
Okay.
To keep him awake because he was trying to like drive through the whole time without taking a break.
Okay.
And it was during those conversations that we just got to know each other so much deeper.
Wow.
And I think that we really realized, we enjoy communicating with each other. We enjoy getting to know each other.
Yeah.
Why don't we see each other in person?
Really?
And so he made the big leap and he flew from Ohio to Florida to come see me in person for the first time in, I don't even know how many years. I hadn't seen him for probably 10 years.
For about 10 years, right? When you guys were younger.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so he flew out to see me.
Oh my goodness. How was that experience like? Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
I would have been dying.
I remember being like so nervous picking him up from the airport. Like, oh my God, what if we don't have a connection? And he just flew all the way here. And like, what if we don't feel that spark?
Right. And this is the guy that I've been holding his little, when we were kids, I used to get his little school pictures. And now he's actually like, we're connecting.
He's
and
actually
now
here.
But I'm going to see him in person. Oh, Steph, that's a lot.
It was so nerve-wracking.
Yeah. Okay. So,
but ultimately, like, long story short, we spent a week together.
Okay.
And we knew by the end of the week, like, we were the best together.
You were a match.
We brought out the best in each other. We had so much fun. We had great conversations. I also learned that growing up, he would steal my school picture out of his cards.
No.
Like, this was a thing we never knew, but we always had a crush on each other. We were
so
always
he had a crush on you.
pulled,
that was the question I was just going to ask you.
Yeah, we always were pulled to each other, like, physically.
Okay, yeah.
And so when he finally came to Florida and flew out, and I saw him in person, this big hunk of a man with these big shoulders, muscles, and not only did he look freaking handsome,
yeah,
he was the biggest gentleman in the world.
Oh,
I had never had a man
friend.
that like would always make sure he was holding my hand, opening every single door for me. Always putting me first. Even like when we walk on the sidewalk, he has to walk closer to the cars. You know, like
Absolutely.
he is always putting me first and treating me like a freaking queen.
You should protect her.
And that was my first time ever having a relationship where like I could just feel through their actions that they cared about me so deeply.
Wow. That must have been amazing. But also not only amazing, were you thinking, is this good? You know, like seriously, is this too good to be true? Or did you know? You're like, no, this is.
I'm glad you bring that up. Because in my past relationship, I had those trust issues.
Yes, that's what I was wondering. Yeah.
And I'm like, in that past relationship, okay, I would occasionally check his phone.
Right.
Because I caught him so many times having text messages with other women. Okay. So that was like a pattern of mine that I got into because of that.
Did you know though, but let me take a little back again. In your past relationships, you already said like some of the guys were cheating on you. Was it like, were you able at some point in the past relationships to get that you were getting the feeling, or was it like it was so blatantly obvious that he was being sneaky? Because you said you were checking phones and stuff. Were you checking phones because they already?
Oh, yeah. It was, I'm a pretty intuitive person. Like I could feel something was wrong.
You knew. You were like, okay, something's off. Something's off.
And it was like,
maybe
maybe instead of hurting me, they were just like dragging it out or something. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did have trust issues.
Yep.
And I did, when I started dating my husband, start to question, is this too good to be true?
Yes.
Exactly. Because that was just like, it's such a pattern of mine to question things. Like, maybe I don't deserve like this perfect man. There's no way he can like check all the boxes. No way.
Right.
Like, this is too good. So I did question it at first.
Okay.
But I think the only way to trust someone is over time. Trust is something I think that builds over time,
Absolutely,
right? Like with relationships.
No, I love that you're saying that, because I think if, the listeners are listening right now and they're like, yeah, I find myself too, like, if I've had bad relationships before, I hear this often from women, I've had bad relationships before. And how do you go from having bad relationships or things not working out to really trusting again? Like really trust, like really allowing yourself to have that vulnerability, to really realizing, okay, he's different than other men. And I like that you say that. I think it does take some time.
I think so. I think you have to give each new person like a blank slate, like start fresh. And I'm sure that can be tough for a lot of women, myself included. Like, but this is a new person. You can't drag someone else's garbage into this new relationship.
But there was something about your man though, that not only that you were going to give it time, but he was obviously showing up differently.
Yes.
Right? Than you were used before. So it does take both. So like, even if we have that, like, I don't know, I don't want to get hurt again. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And someone is showing you, it does take for them to show up, and takes for you to have that time to be like, okay, this is different. Okay, he's a man that like, I can rely on him. He's a person like when he says something, he actually does what he says. That's the signs that we have to see, because Steph, anybody can say anything. They can, right? Like they can just, talk and talk and talk and talk. But really what shows you their true character is their actions. So by his actions, he was showing you that you can trust him, you can rely on him. Okay. So that's
absolutely
cool. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So then you're now in this relationship with him. And of course, you already said, I've had this crush on him. What's his past? Was he in a long-term relationship prior to you? Was he ever married before? Because he went to the military. What was a little bit of his past?
Oh, I love that question, because my husband is the most amazing man now.
Okay.
But growing up, he was a bad boy.
He was a bad boy.
He was a bad boy.
No.
And that was totally opposite of me at the time.
Yeah.
And he is the most intelligent person I know, but he would just skip classes and fail his classes on purpose just because he didn't try.
Yeah. He was just like, whatever.
Just a crazy, like, party boy.
Yeah.
And then, in Florida, there's me, a little angel or whatever. But yeah, he was very different from me. And he had some girlfriends and one longer term relationship before he left. And he went to automotive school for a year. Okay. And then he went into the Marines for 4 years. Yeah. And I'm sure in the Marines, he probably dated and such, but nothing serious.
Nothing too serious. Okay. Yeah. Nothing too serious.
Yeah.
Now, did he, like, I'm sure you guys have talked about it. What was his experience in the sense of, like, did he think one day he wanted to get married, or he was more like, nah?
He actually didn't think he wanted to.
Really? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He has told me that he never really thought that he would. He wasn't against it, but he had just never been with someone that he felt like he could be with forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's funny that within a week of being with me, he's like, oh, I can't let go of this girl. Like this, we are just I really believe we're soulmates. Like, we were made for each other because we have a very strong relationship in all aspects.
Right.
It's unbelievable. If I had hours to tell you, like, so many synchronicities and things that brought us together. But
no, but I love that, Steph. I love that you said that, because you know what? Like I said, that I love to hear, like, the story, right? Like how people thought of things, because things can change. Like, just because you've had bad relationships before, or just because someone thinking, oh no, I'm never this and that, it does take the right person. It does take some time. It does take, some maturity, some, looking at, like, okay, well, let me back up. And And for you to say that he always had a little crush on you too, not even knowing, what for sure, if you guys are ever really going to get together or not. And then being able to see you in person for the very first time, and that just having that clarity, like, wow, there's something different with her. There's something different with her.
Yeah.
Right? Like, would you think that's what he was saying? Because he said that past relationship, he wasn't sure. But with you, he was like, I never had this connection.
Yeah. We were like magnets.
You were magnets.
It was just such a great match. And, like going back to what I said in the beginning, I just feel like a lot of women give up or they just settle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's... It's unfortunate because it's like the right person could still be out there if you were just more patient.
Right.
But the thing is, a lot of us are not patient like you are,
right.
Charlene. So it's like, oh my goodness, this is good enough.
Right. Well, let me just say this. I'm very patient with kids, but I wasn't patient with men.
No.
No, I wasn't patient with men, but I've always had that naturalness. That had to come for me in time. That had to come with me in time, having more patience, having more, like I said, more maturity. Growing up, Steph, I had to grow up too. Like I had a failed marriage.
Yeah.
And so when I left that marriage too, I was like thinking, I don't know. I don't know if it's in the cards for me. Did you think that
you would get married again?
Not when I first left, no. Not when I first left. But then surely, not too long after, I would say, I don't even remember the time. But then I realized, okay, Charlene, come on. You're young. You can't have such a hard heart. Just because things didn't work out, that doesn't mean that, you can't find love again, because I was very in love with my ex-husband. It's just, we could not, at the time, we could not figure it out. But then, Steph, we're also raising children. It was a lot, Mama.
Yeah.
It was, you know what I mean? That was a whirlwind. But I did get to the point that I realized that, yes, I always believed in love. I always believed that, like, you can find love again, even if things didn't work out one time.
Yeah, totally.
I really believe that with all my heart. And well, that's why I do this now. Seriously, that's why I do what I'm doing now, because I believe in love. I believe in great relationships. And I don't think that, I do believe that you can fall in love more than once. Sometimes it's a one and done. That's amazing. That's hopefully what we all want, to be honest with you. That's what we all want. But that's not the reality in life, right? And so if that doesn't happen, I know that you can fall in love again. But that wasn't your case. Okay, so now you're with your guy, and you guys are like, this is amazing. How did it come up, and when did you actually say, listen, I want to be married, I love all this, but I don't want to have children? How did that conversation happen with him? Because obviously he was cool with that. Because did he not want children either?
Right.
Yeah.
I actually don't remember exactly when, but it was very early on. Within the first few weeks, I think, of talking.
Oh, so
it came up.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Like we got pretty serious pretty fast.
That's awesome.
And so it came up, and we were both on the same page. That's
fantastic.
It wasn't the plan. Right. Now we've always said, if it happens on accident, we will be great parents. Okay, yeah. It will be fine.
It'd be fine.
But it just has never been like the plan.
It's just never been the plan. Okay.
Yeah.
So then so you guys now are getting together, and you're like, I'm in love. What happens? Like, because you guys are living in two different states, aren't you?
Right.
Okay. So what happens?
Yeah. So I was finishing up physical therapy school.
Okay. Yeah.
I was graduating, and I had the decision. Okay, I'm going to graduate. Where do I want to get my first job? Do I want to move to Ohio and get a job there and be with him?
Okay.
Well, no, I don't really want to, because I was like, I don't like the snow. I don't really like Ohio. Like, I want to move somewhere cool.
Okay. Yeah.
And he was totally game to just kind of start fresh somewhere new with me, because I never really wanted to stay in Florida. I knew that if I stayed there, I'd be stuck in my old like version of myself.
Yes.
I was ready to up level.
You're ready to
go.
Yeah.
And so we came out to Phoenix, Arizona here. Okay. We checked it out. We loved it.
Did you know anybody here?
No.
No?
No.
Why Phoenix? Was it just one of those things that you guys like, let's just check it out?
He had visited.
And
he was like, I think you're going to like it, Steph.
Okay. So because he did go, wait a minute. Let me back this up.
He was stationed in Yuma, Arizona. That's a couple hours south.
That's different than Phoenix.
Yes.
Okay.
Very different.
Very different. Okay.
But like, he would come up to Phoenix occasionally.
So he knew Arizona, and that's it. Okay.
Yeah. So we came to visit. We did end up liking it. I did some interviews, got my first job here in Scottsdale.
Okay.
And then I moved in to an apartment here in Scottsdale. And 6 months later, he had to finish up his school.
Okay.
He moved here. So
So you moved here first?
Yeah.
Wow.
I lived here by myself for 6 months.
No way. You are
Yeah.
wow. That's really cool. But you guys
I'm
obviously
fine
were
with
together.
it.
You knew he was coming.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think because, like I said, I trusted him.
Yeah.
His actions aligned with what he was telling me.
Yes.
I knew he loved me and loves me. I knew that he was faithful. I had nothing to worry about. We just had a long distance relationship for those 6 months. And then he moved out here. And so we moved in together and we dated for a few more years here.
Okay. You did. Yeah.
Before we decided to get married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So then, but during the time though, when you guys were obviously, you're going to move here and and he's like, I'm going to move here. You guys already pretty much knew. I know you weren't engaged or anything then, but you guys knew that was the direction you guys were going.
Yeah.
Okay. Because he knew that he wanted to get married. You just didn't know when, because you guys are still.
Yeah. We knew.
Not the marriage, but the relationship was still young.
Yeah.
We still got to get to know each other more.
And
we still got to.
Like we wanted to
There
give
was no
it
rush.
time.
Yeah.
We wanted to give it time. We also wanted to make sure that financially he was ready to invest in, a pretty ring for me.
Yes. Yes.
And we had enough money saved to pay for our own wedding and
Okay.
stuff. So, something that I don't talk about a lot is that Zach and I are very financially aligned. We constantly set financial goals together
Wow.
and make sure our goals intersect. We are always aware of each other's career goals, relationship goals, finance goals. And so financially, we knew we needed to be at this specific place till we get engaged and get married. So we've always had these kind of milestones to hit together. We're both very goal-oriented people.
Goal-oriented. So no, and not only that, it seems like you guys really thrive on partnership, right?
Yeah.
You guys are like, okay, we're gonna do this together because this is what we want together. So these are our goals. This is what we're going at. See, that is the cool. That's what I'm always talking about. That when we're in relationships, it is so important to be able to have those goals together.
Don't you think so?
100%. Partnership is
what about
huge.
you and your husband? Do you guys do goals together?
All the time? It's so important because
important.
what happens is a lot of times is you can have your own things that you're working on. That's cool, right? That's cool. Like you said, you like to have that type of independency when it comes to certain things. But really, for a relationship to thrive, a relationship to continue on growing, you actually have to have goals together. I actually just said this in a podcast the other day, and I think the one that just came out. Togetherness, what is partnership, and goals together, it what makes you grow together.
Yes.
It's huge.
Oh, absolutely. Because it's if you're both going down the same path,
yes,
maybe you could last a year or two going on toward your own goals. Okay. But over time, you're going to start going in opposite directions unless you communicate, where are we going together?
Yes.
And so for us, honestly, it makes decision-making as a married couple so much easier because we say, oh, we have this decision to make. Okay, well, our goal together is right here.
Yes.
So does this align with our goal of where we plan to be 5 years from now?
Yes.
No, it doesn't. Okay, it's a no then. It makes it so much easier for us to make, any decision.
And I think
based on our goals.
And it's so much more exciting.
Yeah.
Doing something together with someone, right?
Yeah.
Having that vision, having that, planning it together. You both are contributing to whatever that is together. Because if I've noticed, if we don't do that stuff, like we just said earlier, we find ourselves just kind of just going on our own islands by ourselves, and then wondering, wow,
why do I not feel connected to them anymore?
Let's talk about that, right?
Right.
How being connected. So early on, it seems like you and your man, that was something that you guys established early.
I attribute that to him. He's the one who's like, Steph, we should sit down once a year and goal plan. I'm
wow.
Yes.
Really?
I'm down for that because I always did goals by myself. Even year one of dating, we have done it since the beginning.
Right.
And I think that's what makes us such a strong couple is because we always know, I know where he wants to go. He knows where I want to go and where we're going together.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, that's fantastic.
And then when you know each other's goals and one of you like hits a goal, then it's so fun to celebrate it together and like support each other. Or if you can see that, okay, has this goal, but his actions and his habits aren't aligning with this goal he told me about, I can hold him accountable.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How did you, okay, so when you guys, you're together for a couple of years, you're living together, you guys already had this, like I always say, I think relationships kind of set a pattern, right? Like set this type of pattern from the beginning. So you guys are already setting this pattern. We're in this together. We're going to do things, we're going to have these goals together. And we both know there's no perfect relationship. I get that. No, there's not. And I want people to understand that.
I used to believe there was.
Really?
Like growing up and stuff, I'm watching all my chick flicks. Right. There's not.
There's no perfect relationship.
But I did just think like the more awareness you have with yourself, then the more awareness you have with your partner.
Yes.
The better your relationship can be.
The better your relationship is.
Yeah.
So what I realized too, like even the best relationships, right? You grow when you have moments in those relationships. That to me is the strength sometimes in relationship is when you have challenging times.
Yeah.
When you have those trials and tribulations.
Yes.
Because it seems like with you guys, everything was pretty much going pretty well. What did you notice? Like, what did you notice when it came to with you and your man, when it came to the trials, when it came to like those times you're like, oh, life gets hard or whatever that happens. How did you guys handle that? And how did you guys get through, certain things?
Okay. I feel like being such an independent soul, if I had an issue and I was single, I'd be like, okay, come on, Steph, get it together. Like, you can fix this. You got this. Like, just lift yourself up. Here we go. Pep talk. But with such an amazing partner, it's almost like this balance act between the two of us. And it's always been like that since we've been together. So, for example, okay, so we dated a few years. We got married 2015. 2017, 18-ish. I was starting to feel very burnt out with my physical therapy job.
Okay.
I was unhappy. I was stressed. I'd get home every night just like exhausted. Didn't like it anymore. Okay. Like I knew that I was helping people. I was like fulfilled in what I did, but I also knew that there was more for me.
Yeah.
I have an entrepreneurial like spirit. I knew I was always meant to have my own business.
Yeah.
And so I started building a side hustle of creating fitness videos for brands online.
Nice.
And so I started that. But Zach is like, Steph, I can see how unhappy you are.
Oh, okay.
He's in school. He graduates. He goes and gets his pharmacist job. Okay. He's working. So now he can support us. And he says, Steph, I know you're not happy. I see that your side hustle is starting to build. If and when you decide you want to leave your career that you've spent so much time and money on to pursue what you're really passionate about, I fully support you.
Wow.
And that, even just him saying that gave me so much relief that I didn't have to feel stuck in a career I didn't enjoy forever. Even if financially, I didn't need his support financially, but having that as like a little buffer, a little cushion,
100%.
While I like started to try and build my own thing,
absolutely,
that support. I mean, you can't beat that. It was just incredible that he gave me that, understanding first of all, because most people think it's outrageous that I left a career that I spent 7 years studying,
But you knew.
He understood.
Well, I think too, like you said, I think what I'm noticing, is that probably during that time, when we could look back, that was maybe affecting the relationship because he right?
Oh, yeah.
Is that what was going on? He was like, you're not happy.
Yeah,
and it wasn't necessarily him.
Totally.
It's just that you were in that place, a transition. We all go through transitions like that. You were in a place that you were like, I don't know. And you had that guilt. And then you already said earlier, like, you're like this perfectionist. You're like, and you're not a quitter. You're like, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And so I can imagine, right? I can imagine because everything was cool with you guys. And during that time, that probably was really affecting your relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're not in a good place and loving yourself fully, how
Right.
can you love someone else fully?
Right. So for
Yeah.
him to give you that is just
So he kind of like
awesome.
lifted me up in that moment
Yes.
and gave me the permission to quit physical therapy and pursue a life of freedom, like working for myself, building my own business. And so I did that. I did that for a few
Oh, that's
years.
fantastic.
You know, and then there's been moments where he has struggled.
Yeah.
He got unhappy in his position.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
my business is doing better now. So let me support you now while you experiment and try and find a role that you like better.
Wow.
Right?
You guys are
So we've
awesome.
kind of always like done this balancing act.
Uh-huh.
And I think it works so well because we're very similar in
Okay.
that, like I said, we're both goal oriented. We're both very financially savvy. Like, for example, we had like $500,000 in student loans when we both finished school.
Oh yeah, because you both were going to like
so much loans.
Yes.
But we like had this goal. We're going to pay off our loans, and we paid them off in 6 years.
Wow.
Because we had the goal together.
Yes.
And we were so focused on this is where we're going together. Here's our future. And we want our future to look like this, out of debt, like, you know, future millionaires. That was the whole plan.
Right. That was the whole plan.
Right?
Because you're like, this is what we want for our life.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's never been this like, I'm rising and he's just stagnant. It's always been, okay, he's rising. Okay, now he supports a little while I rise. And we're constantly raising each other up because we kind of, we know where we're going and we know who needs support when. Right?
Yeah, no, it seems like you guys are truly, like I said earlier, you guys, there's no perfect relationship. She's saying they go through stuff, but it seems like you guys had that from the beginning, a true partnership. Like, you know, like he was honestly your best friend.
Oh, yeah.
That to me, Steph, that's really what relationships are all about.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity. It's like being married to your best friend. It's an opportunity to understand, like, you know, even when you met your man in the beginning, you know, we grow, we change. And it seems like with you two that you guys have given each other that space to grow, to change, to, you know, to really develop as the years go by. Like, because we're not the same. Like people, you know, let me take that back. Some of us don't take that opportunity. Some of those don't take that opportunity to look inwards and grow. And with you guys, that's what I'm getting right now from this. I'm getting like, you know what? Every time that we've been in this place with one another, we've been able to like hold each other accountable. You know, hey babe, what is it? How can I support you? Because that to me is what relationships are about. Relationships are truly supposed to enhance your life. They're not supposed to be toxic. They're not supposed to be hard. Life is hard. Life is hard.
I know.
But the relationship is where we should go. And I want people to hear this. I really want people to hear this. Relationships are actually supposed to be being married to your best friend and figuring it out together.
Yeah.
And I hear, and it's just, you know, it is what it is, but I hear a lot often that people are in relationships and they don't have that partnership and things are not good. And that's where you need to really look at it. You really need to look and take a deep look because something's got to change because it shouldn't be hard.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think about that, Steph?
I am just like admiring you and your ability to pick up on like just energetically like where this conversation is going. And I think that so many people almost like maybe crave having a difficult relationship. Like they like the chase or they like to have the fights back and forth because it just brings like the relationship or the passion alive perhaps. But you're right. Life is hard enough as it is.
Life is hard
externally.
enough.
Like when you come home, you want to feel like you're in a safe, loving space.
Absolutely.
Right?
You know, and you want to feel, I mean, that's really, it comes down to feeling safe. It comes down to feling connected.
Yeah.
Because if we are having that conflict all the time and all, that doesn't last. Like that will burn you out. because it really should be the opposite, because that's truly what I'm doing, Steph. Like, that's why I'm so passionate about great relationships. And that's why I'm having, women on the show to, really explain their journey, just because we didn't have it in the past, but how we can come together and we can be with the right person. Like, there's, you really have to pick the right person from the beginning. And a lot of times we just don't. We remember what you said earlier, we just rush into it. We don't have like the intentions or the goals that we're like, where are we going with this relationship? What do we want together? Not like, what do we want separate? What do we want together?
Yeah.
And that's something that you two have had.
Yes, I attribute our relationship to just building that strong foundation in the beginning.
From the
knowing
beginning.
Exactly what we wanted. We didn't settle. We were clear on what each other wanted, setting those goals together each time. Like, that's what has set us up for success, because it's not just been all sunshine and rainbows.
Right.
Like, there has been some really rough periods, especially like, I think a lot of people struggled in like 2020 because of COVID and such, right?
Yes.
And you're stuck at home more, and there's just so much craziness going on. And for me, that was also a really difficult year because I had to actually cut my parents out of my life in 2020.
You did.
And you know what? I never could have done that if I didn't have a supportive, loving husband.
Yes.
That was like, I fully support you on this decision, Steph, because I went through like 6 months of time in which I wasn't putting myself first.
Okay.
I was trying to fix my parents' relationship. I was trying everything I could to get them the mental health help that they needed. That didn't work.
No, okay. No, hold on, Steph. Let's just make that very clear. Hold on. This is good that you went to that. Okay, let me ask you the question. Can we fix somebody?
No.
Okay.
You cannot. You can try.
Nope.
And to the point where you lose your own self, which is what happened to me. And I was in a dark place, and I was having constant panic attacks, anxiety, stress constantly, not sleeping. And what did that do to my marriage?
Yeah, it affected your marriage.
I'm pissed off all the time. I'm sad. I'm upset. Like, I don't want to be affectionate. I don't want to like sit down and be a happy wife.
Yes.
You know? And so he's having to come home into a house during COVID time to an unhappy wife.
He was like, I don't know what I'm going to get today.
I was like, oh my God.
Oh my goodness, what's going to happen?
And so it's just so nice that, even when the worst of the worst happens and you have to do something so drastic to put your own mental health first and you first, because I'm a firm believer, like, you have to be happy and love yourself.
Yes.
That is always number one before anyone else, before your kids, your spouse, whatever. So he understood. He said, Steph, totally. Like, you're not happy. It is time to put yourself first. You need to do what's best for your mental health right now.
Oh, that's
so
awesome,
he supported me in that. And I'm just so
support.
appreciative that he was there for me during like the lowest moment of my life, because otherwise I could have just gone deeper into that hole. But instead, I had his support and love, and he is now my family.
Yes.
Right?
Of course.
And because of that, I've begun going through this own like spiritual awakening. I have had the most beautiful transformations, going to therapy to figure this stuff out. Just learning more about myself, diving deep into my human design, which I know you talked about on the recent podcast. And I've just learned so much about who I am, who I want to be, grown to love myself. I'm really a much different person than I was a few years ago.
That's what we said. Yeah.
And he loves me the same, because he has seen me every single day as I've kind of grown into this totally different woman, but still with the same values and goals.
Yes.
I'm just not as introverted. I'm more extroverted now, and I'm more at peace and grateful and just in this really good place. And I know that I'm only in this place because of his support.
No, absolutely. Steffi, that's so true, because it does take, for you to be able to have that space to go through that. You actually did need a supportive man. Yeah. Right? Because if you didn't have a support man, that would have been bad.
I don't know what I would have done.
Right? Like, really. And I love that you said, and not only that, for us to have a great relationship with our person, great relationship with friends, great relationships with whoever that is, we have to have a great relationship with ourselves.
Yes.
There's a reason, we've heard this before, but this is true. There's a reason when you're on the plane, you know what I mean? When something goes down, you put that oxygen mask on you first, so then you can help everybody else. So you have to help yourself first.
I like that.
Yes. So when, you have to put your oxygen mask on first, so you can be able to help everyone after that. So you didn't put that oxygen mask for a while there, and that's what your husband did for you. He's like, no, girl, you got to put that on first. You got to take care of yourself first, and then you'll be able to pour into, others and let that go, because you can't change your parents, and no fault, like I said, no fault to your parents. You can't change people, but you can only change yourself.
Exactly. I'm such a firm believer in that. I've always questioned, though, like from a mother's perspective, have you ever put your kids first over yourself first?
Oh gosh, yes. Oh yes, of course. Oh, I've done
I'm
it
sure
all.
it's harder for mothers, and I'm
Steffi,
sitting here saying, always put yourself first.
But I know what you're saying.
I'm not a mom, though.
No, girlfriend, but you're not saying it. I totally understand how you're talking. You're not saying it. It doesn't come. It's not. I want everyone to hear this. It's not like when we say put yourself first. It's not like I'm going to just take care of me and not care about anybody else. No.
You have to fill your cup first.
It's like being healthy and really understanding your boundaries.
Yes.
Right? That's what putting yourself first is really understanding your boundaries and putting that, having those boundaries so people can't affect you in that way. That's really, making sure that you're taken care of, making sure that all those things. But really what I think when I think of people putting themselves first is truly like cutting off the people pleasing, cutting off thinking that you can change a person, cutting off that all that stuff is really having that confidence as a person and saying, you know what, I'm not perfect, but you know what, I'm not going to allow that anymore. I'm not going to allow myself to get to the point that I'm so exhausted that I'm just giving and giving and giving. That now I'm at, right? That's what it seems like, putting yourself first.
Yeah.
When we put ourselves first, we don't get to the point that you're like giving and giving and giving to the place that you're so depleted that you just can't anymore. So yes, as a mom, Steph, yes, there's a difference. There are times that, you're not going to put yourself first because you're like, okay, I got to feed these kids.
Yeah, especially with like
that's
a baby
different.
or
Yeah.
something,
That's different. But that's not what we're talking about today. That's not what we're talking about. I totally understand where you were coming from. Because if you are not feeling good, mama, and you're not confident, then you're not going to have anything to give. You're not going to be able to have that with your husband. And if you don't have boundaries for yourself, and especially like you said, with your family or your parents, you're going to just be depleted. It's not going to work. So I think that's what you did. And he gave, like we said earlier, he gave you space to do that.
Yeah.
He sounds like a great guy.
I'm so happy that I get to talk about him, because so often I go on podcasts, I talk business, I talk video creation and all the things, but I've never talked about our love story.
Your love story.
So thank you, because he deserves to have a huge spotlight on him, because he truly is a great man.
Oh, that's fantastic. And you know what? So do you. Because what I'm noticing here today, that you absolutely adore your husband. And I noticed I can tell. And I know, and I love it. That's why I want people to hear this. Like, look at this, how sweet this is. And not only that you adore your husband, I can tell that you have also just been this man's biggest supporter. You've look how you talk about him. I can imagine if we had him today, he would be like, "Oh, she's amazing."
Oh God, it would be different.
And that's why I love this, because this is real life. This is real relationship, and I want people to know that you can have a great relationship. You can have, just a great love story, even though life is going to happen. I will always repeat myself over and over again. Life will always happen. Things will always happen. But come home together.
Yeah.
Come home and help each other out. That to me is the best. Absolutely the best. Steph, what are you guys looking forward to? I know. What are you guys looking forward to now in the future?
Oh, wow. So many things. We're going. Oh my goodness. We just have such big dreams together.
Yeah.
But I think I'm most looking forward to just our future together, because we have been so goal oriented. We fully intend to retire in our early 40s. And at that point just do work if we want. For fun. And we're going to have acres of land. We have this house, like we're manifesting this specific house, the way it looks, the back patio, looking out over landscapes of just mountains everywhere.
Oh, fantastic.
My dog Forrester, he will be there running around. He's a bird dog, so he'll be like scoping out all the animals. There will be other animals like cows, goats, sheep.
Fantastic.
Like, I just want a slow paced life with my man. Because we just truly enjoy spending time together. Like, I never get sick of my husband.
Right, that's fantastic.
We just love each other's energy, but can also just hang out in the same room.
Just
and
chill
not
out with
say
each other.
much.
Yeah.
Also, like, we just vibe so well together.
Yeah.
And I just look forward to that future that we worked so hard for, to just finally slow down a little.
Yeah.
Enjoy some peaceful moments together, travel the world more, and, you know, just continue to grow as individuals.
Yeah.
And in turn grow together, because we will continue to communicate.
Absolutely,
where are we
girlfriend.
going together.
Yes.
It might change. The path might change. We might take a turn this way and this way.
Yeah, that's okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, I know we're doing it together, and it just feels so good to have that support.
Absolutely. What would you say? What advice would you give for ladies? You know, because you have, you know, obviously you've gone through so much and you've been able to like have this great relationship, meet the right guy. But before, you know, you like we talked about, you with your parents, you know, things weren't always great with them and you didn't have the best relationships before. What would you say for women are like, I don't know if I can trust another man again. I don't know if the cards are in, you know, love is in the air for me.
You never know till you try. You never know if you can find your true soulmate or a good fit for you until you give it a try. So you can sit around and complain. You can sit around and say, never again. You can sit around and continue like not trusting someone. But until you give it a try, you know.
So you say just get out there.
You just have to get out there.
You got to try, don't you?
I know that can be scary at first.
Yeah.
Totally.
But look what happened with you.
But yeah, like
there's
at some point it'll be worth it.
Yeah, look, there's what do we say? There's the rainbow at the end, you know?
Yeah.
Because, you know, you didn't know either and you leaned into it and you trusted that journey with him. And it seems like it's been pretty freaking cool. That's pretty cool.
It has
Steph.
been.
Yeah, that's
it's
actually
probably
really cool.
The thing I'm most proud of is finding my guy.
Your guy, right?
Yeah. Because I know that can be so difficult for so many people.
Yes.
Don't you think? Like you have more experience with this than me.
Yes, it absolutely is. But you know what? There's somebody out there for everyone.
Yeah.
100%. Love is available. Love is absolutely available. Ladies, love is available. Men, love is available.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's the beauty of it because it's available for all of us. It's if we want it and what we want to do and how, you know, and how we just allow ourselves to, like you said, just go for it. Just keep on trying. Because sometimes it takes a little moment, right? Sometimes it takes a little, okay, that one didn't work out. Let's move on. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's actually okay.
Oh,
so
it's good.
It's good. It's a good
You'll
thing.
grow from it.
You grow. Exactly. You grow. So let me ask you this. I don't even know how long we've been on. I'm like, this has been...
Girl, we can talk for hours.
This has been fantastic. Seriously. How do people get into your world? Tell everyone what you do for a living and how, you know, they can get into your world.
Yeah. Well, I am a content and video creator. So
I need you.
but the thing is, I work with brands all over the world.
Okay.
So I do a lot of product videos. Brands will send me their products and I'll create a video just sharing the love for it and how it solves a problem. And people call these UGC videos, but I do a lot of that.
Okay.
And then I do a lot of videos for especially female entrepreneurs and small businesses in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
So, you know, you guys can reach out to me. My company is called Sunny Creator Co.
Okay.
So sunnycreatorco.com and my Instagram is Sunny Creator Co. But essentially, I just love to help, especially female entrepreneurs, amplify their brand through video and content that really shares their story. Just like this podcast gave me the platform to share my story. Video, I feel like video is just so powerful in a way that photos and words can't quite always express it. But video can capture those words and the feeling and the energy just like we've got video right now.
Yes.
It can tell a story. And I feel like every woman's story deserves to be heard. Everyone is worthy of sharing that story and where they've been and why they've created the business they created.
Yes.
So I love to capture that. I love to go out and shoot video of podcasts, of women's retreats, women's mastermind events. Really, any video content is just
you're
my
the
favorite.
one, right?
It's
You're the girl, right? Like anyone. So listen, did you
Yeah.
hear that? Any type of video content, you have to reach out to Stephanie. What's the best way that they can reach out to you?
I think Instagram is where I'm most present. Yeah.
We're going to leave that on the show notes. And you want to say it one more time, your Instagram handle?
Yes. So my business handle is Sunny Creator Co.
Okay.
And then my personal Instagram is Steph Dorworth.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think this was just an amazing conversation today. And I just really appreciate just how you shared your journey, how you shared your vulnerability, how you talked about your man. Like, I mean, I was like, wow, I want every woman to feel like that about their man. I feel like that about my man. Like
You do?
yeah, oh yes. Oh yes. He's amazing.
Oh
Yes.
gosh. If we had another hour, I want to hear like your whole story. So
Yes.
maybe you can do an episode for us all.
You know what? I'm actually, you know what?
You
I was just talking to Stephanie earlier when we started this. I might have you help me do that.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds amazing because I would love to be able to.
I want to hear about it.
Yeah,
Especially for mothers who had one marriage
Yes.
that didn't work out, to have the courage to date again, even while you have kids that you're raising.
Yeah,
like,
4.
I want to hear all the deets.
And then find love again and have it like just be phenomenal. Even though we have our
incredible.
moments too. You know, we have our story too. Okay, cool. We have a story too.
Yeah.
But yes, have it come out to where like now we are definitely learning each other differently, growing each other differently, to where like I'm so passionate about it. I want everyone to hear. I want everyone to hear what it is to have a really great relationship. Not perfect, but great relationship. Would you take the honor? Hold on, Steph. Hold on. Let me give you this. Oh my goodness. Oh, you know, we are going to cheers to this. Hold on. Let me get this. Oh,
all right.
Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on.
I'm so grateful for you.
Oh, I'm
Thank
so
you.
grateful for you, girlfriend. This was amazing. Hold on. Let me get some things here.
So fun.
Thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap this up, hon? I'm going to give you the last word. She's like, I don't know, Charlene. We said so much.
I'm trying to come up with something like just like life changing, but it's not happening.
I got it. How about this? Ready? Okay.
You got this.
I got this. Ready? How about cheers to great love?
Yes.
There you
Love
go.
that.
Yes.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
That's a wrap. Wow. What a great love story. I love how Steph really created her happily ever after. She stuck to the exact values that she was looking for in a partner and in a relationship, and not settling for anything less than what she truly desired in a man. And because she did just that, she can truly say that she's living her happily ever after. If you're loving this podcast and these incredible conversations, please hit the subscribe button and leave a 5-star review. Don't miss an episode, because each week I'll be bringing on guests and experts who will share their knowledge about love, dating, and relationships so you can apply it into your own life. I'll see you next week. And until then, cheers to great love.